What's up and welcome to Idle Insights, a show where each week I, Treavor Bettis, talk to interesting people about idle champions and Dungeons and Dragons. And with me this week is the amazing Ellen Rose!
Hello! Thank you for having me, Trevor. It's so
Thank
nice
you
to
for
be
being here.
here. I'm so
If
excited.
if people that are watching this somehow don't know who you are you and what do you do?
Hello, yeah, I'm Ellen Rose. I work over on Outside Xtra, which is the sister channel to Outside Xbox, and we talk about video games and play a lot of D&D. And in the Oxventure series, I am Merilwen, the Wood Elf Druid.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Merilwen is coming to Idle Champions now. Gonna get more of the Oxventure crew
So
in the
excited.
game in your formation, kicking butt. I do wish that there was a way for them to yell at each other occasionally. Just Prudence blow something up and Merilwen get mad at her.
Yeah. Although saying that, as Oxventure has gone on, Merilwen has got a real soft spot for Prudence.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
That's
We limited her wild shape to make it a little bit easier for Johnny to plan around things and to make it easier for me as a complete D&D noob when I first started. Rather than having to be like, what does a rat do? What does this do? And like having to worry about stats for all different animals. And so we did it incrementally. My third wild shape that I was allowed to unlock was a giant octopus, which was because of Prudence and Cthulhu and stuff. So Merilwen was like, ooh, tentacles, that'd be quite cool, actually. Yeah. So yeah.
I could see how that could be good in a battle. Yeah, I love that Prudence has Cthulhu as a patron because that meant that we got to do an episode about Cthulhu on Champions of Lore.
Brilliant. Love it.
So you said there that that D&D noob to it. So I usually start these shows off by asking, how'd you get into D&D? Is this how you got into D&D?
Yeah, it was something that I'd always sort of been like interested in but never really known where to start, because it's about like getting a group of people together, and I didn't know where to do that. I'm sure while I was at uni there was probably a D&D group somewhere that I could have found, but I was completely oblivious to it. And when I got to Outside Xtra, we were like, yeah, we kind of want to do some like tabletop stuff, seeing as we're starting a whole new channel. And Andy especially was like, I want to do D&D, it'll be really fun. And we were like, yeah, we want to do D&D, it'll be fun. So we all decided to just do a one-off, and like Mike couldn't make it. He was off the week that we recorded the first episode, and then we really enjoyed it, and we were like, well, let's do it again with Mike so that Mike can have a go. And then we were like, yeah, we want to do this all the time.
It is one of those things that it is definitely hard to play once, have a good time, and then not want to play it again. It gets its hooks in you very easily.
Yeah, like and Johnny is like such a good DM. They really like smashed it our first episode, so we were like, well, you're stuck with us now.
Did you play any? Did you do like any prep game beforehand, or was the first episode your first time playing D&D?
First episode was my first time playing D&D.
Wild.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
To have a record of that. Like I wish I could kind of go back and see me playing D&D for the first time. You can literally go do that.
It's so much fun. And like I was the one as well. Like no one else really came in costume, but I had my Merilwen's cloak that I wear when I'm playing Merilwen. It's actually vintage. It's a cloak that my mum bought in like the 60s or 70s. It's corduroy, it's really heavy, it feels really good to wear, and she was doing a clear out like a few years ago, was like, do you want this? I'm not going to wear it, but would you like it for any of your videos that you do? Because I've been doing like videos on YouTube for like over 10 years now, just on and off. And I was like, oh, yeah, and I had it in my cupboard, and then we were like D&D, and I was like, great. So the first episode I was like, hey everyone, I brought a cloak. Just so you know.
That's so good.
So, yeah, I was like, guys, I'm getting into this. And then the next episode, everyone was like, yeah, let's dress up. So it was fun.
That's fantastic. I love that. So Merilwen is your first D&D character. How was it building that character and coming up with her not having played the game before?
The thing that really was quite a challenge to me was trying to like work out whether she was going to be good, neutral, evil, lawful, chaotic, etc. And like that was the bit that I was most worried about, because I was like, I want to be in character and blah, blah. And but like I wanted to set myself a challenge, because like whenever I play video games or anything, I'm always like, I'm going to choose the good option, yay. And so I wanted something, I didn't want to go full evil. I wanted to choose something where I was a little bit more like, yeah, I just want to do what will work. And I was like, okay, I'll go with neutral. But like I had a sprinkle of Merilwen really likes animals, so that I have the excuse to be like, no, we must never hurt the animals, kind of things like that, although she's also a hunter, so like she's very pragmatic about it. Exactly. So yeah, and the thing is, like my first couple of episodes, like the first few games that we played, I veered too much towards good, and so like then when I was like, oh no, let's steer her back to neutral, a few people were like, what, she just murdered someone to get something done? And I'm like, yeah, it was to get something done. It was they were like, has Prudence influenced? I'm like, yeah, but to pull her back to the center. And she is very influenced by the other characters in the group, in that she does get dragged more towards the chaotic end, because basically everyone in the team is chaotic other than Corazon.
I've noticed that a little bit.
Like, everyone's like, so like everyone gets like dragged that way. She's quite influenced by the other characters, but like I had a lot of fun like as the character grew. Like at first I was like, oh god, how am I going to do this? And then I've like gradually grown into that character, and as ever, when you're like picking, or you're well, not picking, but you're like, luckily Johnny rolled our stats for us.
Oh, okay.
So that was really nice of them to do that, because I was just like, I wouldn't know where to start, so they sorted that all out for us.
Can I do this with my DM? I don't want to roll stats anymore. I don't want to roll.
I
roll low all the time. I don't want to do this. Someone else do it for me.
It's nice. It was like, it's not my fault. And Johnny rolled really well for me, so I love them for that. Like it was it can be quite daunting, because there are so many numbers, and like but once you got it, it's once you actually start playing, it just felt very natural for us. Like it was just like, okay, well, there's the the thing of like, a DM puts a door up and everyone's like, okay, we have to find another way around this door. It's I remember I watched Onward, and that was like one of it was like, they were like, it's a door, and it's just like, oh my goodness, that's exactly what we did on our first one. And there's those, you can like learn to not do that, but it's also funnier to do that. So like, yeah, like the whole process is a learning experience. So when I was like building my character, I was just like, look, I know that I like animals. What thing, like I like using magic as well in games, in video games in general. So I was like, what can I do in tabletop that will allow me to do that? And like when I was skimming through them and it was like druid wild shape, I was like, hello, what is this? Hi.
That is checking those boxes.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I could just turn into animals, can I? Yes, thank you. So that was a real like, because at first I was like ranger, because I like archery in games and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'd be a ranger. And then I was like, not much magic though. I want to do magic. So I was like, so Merilwen still like has her bow and uses it occasionally in combat. But I quickly found that it wasn't as effective as just using magic as a druid anyway. Like I was like, I'm a druid. Druid's a tiny bit OP in D&D. And I will rinse that for all it's worth. So yeah, I was just like, yeah, like I could fire an arrow right now, but I tend to use the bow just to like help us solve puzzles and stuff like that. But yeah, I just going through them all, I was like, brilliant, this is exactly what I want.
The bow is for hunting, the thorn whip is for fighting.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Yes. So Merilwen was there from the get-go with Oxventure, correct? How long has Oxventure been going on for?
Since 2017. So about, we're coming up to like 5 years.
Wow.
Now.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you just have a realization too?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was 2000. I think it was 2017. Hang on, I'm gonna check our channel.
Oh yeah, we have the technology.
We can do this.
I'm gonna hack into the mainframe. When did Ox Ventures start?
Playlists. Hang on the Outside Xbox have the.
Oh, it says this says began. It says began a podcast in August 2020, but I don't know.
Yeah, the first. Well, the thing is, see, I'm freaking out because we actually recorded the first episode in the summer of 2017, and then this September was the first time we put it out because we like recorded it way in advance.
Yeah,
because we were like, oh, what should we do? And then Andy in particular has done a lot of excellent editing using the drawings created by a friend of the channel, Bendix, amazing artist we know. And yeah, we were like, oh, and like sitting on it for quite a while. So yeah, we recorded because I remember it being quite a warm day. But we were down in the basement of Loading Bar, which it's moved location since, but then it had like in the place where we were down in this little cold basement being like
how appropriate that you were in some form of basement to start playing D&D.
I was like, this is everything I thought it would be and more. But best thing as well was we had upstairs a full bar, so like afterwards we had beer and mead. Well, they don't have mead, but they do have Assassin's Mead, a very nice cocktail which I had afterwards actually. So yeah. Well,
there you go. Okay, so started the game in 2017. That is that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, this September. We'll have to do something fun. Oh gosh.
And you were talking about the editing, and that was one thing that I noticed when I started watching it was that, you know, most games they've got like the static image of everybody heads in boxes, but y'all decided to edit it so that you're focusing on people at different times, and that was very unique. I know a lot of other shows are doing that now, but that was the first time that I saw it, and I really thought that was a neat way to you know, draw the eye better to who was talking and who the DM was talking to, because sometimes I will get confused when I'm watching a stream show. I'm just like, oh, the DM's talking. Oh no, they're talking to them. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we had the luxury of like being able to have an extra camera, so we had the one wide shot and then another camera that was able to like move around and zoom in, and part of that is so that we can like be like, oh, it's this person talking, and then part of that is so that we could cut out all the bits where we were like for ages saying, what if we do this, and then like that bit of like planning would go nowhere, and it's like, well, why make someone sit through 10 minutes of us going, what if we do this, and then we never do it. So it was our first game as well, so like we were able to cut out the bits where we were like, okay, no, wait, what does this bit mean? I'm completely lost. And so that we could like break character a little bit as it was the first time we were playing, and just kind of ask questions. It gave us a little bit more freedom, so like it was this beautiful amalgamation of like trying to make it more eye-catching with those different camera angles and with the use of images and stuff, like because we didn't actually have the drawings until a few episodes in, so in the first one we got these weird like stock art images that Andy had made and he was like, this is the greatest art I ever made. Like, he has it ironically as his photo in Slack. his Corazon from the first one.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, we wanted to just like make it a little bit more visually interesting than one wide shot, which, you know, works wonderfully if you have a lovely big set and it's all beautifully dressed. But we were kind of like, hey, we're just borrowing this basement for a bit. Can we use this? And so like, yeah, we wanted to just mix it up and try and like stand out, which seems it did. So yeah, great.
You're talking about the getting stuck on a situation, and I feel like that is the dreaded moment for like almost any streamed game where it's live, where it's just like, oh, please don't take 20 minutes to do this one, please don't take 20 minutes to do this one. I've actually started to use that as a joke now, like when I'm at my home game and we're getting into an argument about how to do something, like if I just get fed up, I'm like, okay, but like if this was a podcast, I would edit this out. Like, can we please just go? That's become my new argument.
Yeah. It's just like we just didn't. We wanted that freedom to be able to be like, wait, sorry, what do we do? What dice do I need?
Yes.
What is this? And like give us the freedom, like so that we weren't like throughout the whole thing, to make us a bit more relaxed and hopefully
that's
make
fantastic.
the viewing experience a little bit better as well for everyone watching. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely the worst thing to do with someone new to the game is to try and rush them through it.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like bringing Merilwen to Idle Champions?
Oh my goodness, it was so much fun. Basically, it's like, sat down with the team, explained that it was really nice. What my favorite thing about Dungeons and Dragons, I think, is apart from like actually the process of playing the game, is afterwards like sharing funny moments with people. So like I was like sharing just these like kind of very somewhat iconic moments for Merilwen amongst the fans, and in the series, like and just having a whole like a bunch of, because it was all like online, because you guys are all the way over in Canada, so we were like just like me sharing a story and then seeing a bunch of people all laughing, and I was like, yeah, I like that. I like having funny stories to share. I love hearing people's funny stories from their games and stuff. So it was a lot of that, and just trying to explain like, oh yeah, she just like turns into a cat a lot because she used to have a cat that she was pals with, and yeah, and then there was this and that, and as like the approvals process, and like they send the art through, and I was just like, it was so like there's such like really, I was like this, there was like, so like you've got like the main art that is being used on a lot of the kind of marketing stuff.
Oh, the key art, yes,
the beautiful key art, and like they were like Merilwen in like lots of different poses, and I was like, I like all of them. I went to Jane and I was like, oh my god, I can't choose. And eventually I went for the spike growth one, because Merilwen's meat grinder is rather famous.
What is, I've seen this all over the comment section when we posted the spotlight. It was like, they got the meat grinder. I'm like, what? What? Did she bring the entire Tomb of Annihilation with her? Like, what is this meat grinder?
So I believe it was called, was it Quiet Riot? It was one of the ones we meet these this particular group, this sect, who have made a vow of silence, and we're hiding out in this church, and they're all coming up to get us because Egbert's rung a big bell to get their attention, and they've come to make us all be quiet. And basically I set up spike growth, which is the druid thing where you just it's just like a bunch of spikes of wood and stuff coming out of the floor, and it's just a trap which people can notice. Sadly, the soldiers who ran in did not roll well. But to like compounding this, which meant that they went so like for spike growth, it's you take damage depending on how much you walk in to the affected area, and they took some they went quite far into the affected area because Andy's character Corazon had also cast Grease.
Yes, I've heard much about Corazon's love for Grease.
His favorite spell. And so basically they ran into the church, slipped on the Grease, and just over the spike growth, and
oh no.
Like, it was just this amazing moment where I kept laughing, but that I really broke character, but sort of was trying my best to just be like, oh, I'm shocked, Merilwen didn't expect this. It was also the funniest thing ever. Johnny was just being like, okay, and roll again, and roll again. Could you roll more, Dina? Like, oh my gosh, what is this? I just thought I was put in a trap to make them stop. I thought that they would all see the trap and then be like, oh, okay, right, we can't go in this way, but they all just straight through. And so first Merilwen was quite shocked by this and was like, oh, but now she sees it as as a neutral player. She's like, this is a useful thing in my arsenal, and she uses it, but there's still, because she isn't like fully evil, she's still got that little bit in her head that's like, oh my goodness, and she's used it a couple of times since, and then been like, okay, I'm gonna turn that off now because that's a little bit too horrific.
She's gone from taking a D6 of psychic damage to a D3 of psychic damage.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's just it was just great, like, because it was all the other characters being like, whoa, like even Prudence, like James,
oh no,
was like, oh wow. She was like impressed, but like, wow.
I'm impressed but a little scared, but
yeah,
but still impressed.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So yeah,
the meat grinder, that's terrifyingly awesome.
Yeah, it was Luke, aka Dob, in our team who came up, who Monica, he was like, Merilwen's meat grinder. I was like, oh. But now I embrace it because, yeah, it's great.
And I believe that's Merilwen's ultimate. So
it is, and like as she casts it, I was like, I need people to know that she's kind of like still a bit put off by it, so she's kind of like, she casts it. Like, so yeah, I really
be great in the game if she just covered her eyes and cast the spell.
Yeah, just like, I was like, she's a little bit like doesn't like to see it. She knows that it gets the job done, but it's quite horrifying if it goes well.
But you don't need to see the job. You just need to know the job is done. You don't need to see the job itself.
Exactly.
So another part of making the character is the equipment and coming up with stuff like that. Was there like important things for Merilwen that got put into the equipment for her?
Yeah, so there's her bow, and most recently in the series, Merilwen's actually got like a super fabulous cool new bow that like lets her teleport once a day in D&D, which is quite fun. I was like, wow, thanks, Johnny. That was a fun prize.
I do love a good teleport.
Yeah, and and there's a few little bits. So like there's some like, because before she met the Oxventurers, Merilwen kind of like explored on her own with a little Scottish wildcat called Simon, that she called Simon. So she saved him from a trap, which was like barbed wire. So she's got a little bit of barbed wire at one point with a little bit of fur. She's kept that to always remember Simon and how they met. She's got little cat toys at one point. And then one of my favorite things, actually, which people like probably won't know about even if they watch the show, is in there she's got like a bag of stones, and like they're special gemstones. And basically when we play the games and we have all the set dressings and everything, I actually have like a little bag of stones that are like, these are all like stones that I bought in a kind of like earth, like Children of the Earth kind of shop when I was a teenager. Just like, I like, oh, they were imbued with things, but I don't know, but I just think they're pretty, you know. And
I have many a shiny rock because of that same reason.
Yeah, I'm just like, ooh, shiny. And so I've got a little bag of shiny rocks that sits on the table with me, that it's not always seen, but it's just like a cute little pouch, and then sometimes I have the stones out and stuff, but they're not something that are always going to be immediately obvious or visible to people at home. But I have them there, and I absolutely like, they're just like a nice little thing. I think back to teenage me and being like, oh, I think teenage me would be really happy that I'm using them to dress up as an elf and do this sort of stuff.
I pulled up the equipment card here. It's the moonstones, and I love the flavor text. Not as good as granting the power to fry enemies as the real moon, but it's so shiny.
Yeah. Merilwen's a big fan of Moonbeam.
There we go.
Yeah, she's from the Circle of the Moon, and also there's a running joke because a couple of the other characters in the series can also cast Moonbeam, and it was revealed, like, this was revealed in a very funny way, because I didn't even know. And so it's become a running joke that Moonbeam is like the spell that everyone can do in Outside Xtra. And so that's one of my go-to spells, along with Merilwen's meat grinder, when we're playing.
I like the look of the moonstones because they remind me of something that I know you have another interest in, which they remind me of the prism stones from Dark Souls.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I mean I just I just want to walk around, just throw them out now and just glow things.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
I'm sure Merilwen could use them for that.
oh yeah, absolutely. The super glowy. So the bow that you're talking about too, the epic bow of the moon.
Mhm.
I had to go back and read this flavor text because this one really got me. Plan A, be a cat. Plan B, fill something full of arrows.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, that is Merilwen's plan to get through life, I think. Really, yeah. There's basically any chance that I can turn into a cat, I will. And yeah, like it's such having a bow and arrow is such a good backup as a druid, definitely.
What is the Moon Watcher's sword? Do you,
It's just like, so Merilwen does have like a short sword that she uses. She doesn't use it very often
okay.
because again, she's like magic. But yeah, she likes shiny swords and anything to do with the moon. So like she saw this, was like, yeah, I was like chatting with the Idle team and I was like, I like the idea of that. That's lovely. So this is actually sort of a new thing unique to Idle. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I think, yeah, Merilwen in our series is gonna have to get a shiny new sword at some point.
The flavor
Yeah.
text again is good. Sorry, is that joke too edgy for you?
Edgy. Yeah, see, Merilwen's other thing, which is completely bled through from me in real life, is she really likes her puns. So like basically I had a lot of fun. So a lot of the flavor text was already written by the Idle team.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, basically in our first meeting, I was like, if you can think of a pun for something, put a pun in, like go for it. Because yeah, if there is a joke, if there's a pun to be made, Merilwen will make it, because otherwise real life Ellen will burst. So like that's her, like she's neutral but she's chaotic when it comes to jokes.
It's chaotic when it comes to puns.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. We did our first live show for a while a couple of weeks back, and it was really lovely. I managed to get a couple of puns out. Everyone got a lot of puns out, actually. It was a strong pun time. So when that eventually goes on our channel, I cannot wait for everyone to hear all those puns. But yeah, it's it like, yeah, any chance. So when I was reading all of these flavor text, I was like, this is brilliant. They have absolutely nailed Merilwen, and it makes it like the whole process of this has been an absolute delight, because it's just like I've I love Merilwen to bits, and she's my first D&D character, and I've like kind of, as her character has grown, I have grown as a player, slowly understanding more of the game, and trying different things and all that sort of stuff. And then to be able to be like, okay, so here is my precious thing. Here you go, Idle team, please take this. And it's been an absolute joy to see them take Merilwen and absolutely run with her. Like I've already said, with the art is fantastic. And like this flavor text, just all the different flavor texts are just perfect. Love it. I love it so much.
I'll pass that along to the team.
Yes. Oh, please do. I it's been like every time I've got an email like, oh, can you like, are these okay? And I'm like, this is great. I love this. Like, there's all these additional notes that you could, like, you can leave a little note where it said, you're like, I love this. This is great. Thank you. So yeah. I hope they all realize like how excited I've been throughout this whole process, because it's been brilliant.
Oh man, I had another question, and then I got so happy there that I forgot it.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. The essentially what I was going for was still with making the character and whatnot, having the conversations. the cat that you've been bringing up a few times now. What
Yes.
what is the story there with that?
So before Merilwen met the Oxventurers, she's a wood elf druid who, like, you know, lives in the woods with the other owls, but she was a huntress who would but like she was a huntress in terms of like she had to humanely kill whatever she killed, and you know she doesn't like trappers, and so she found little Simon with a little bit of barbed wire stuck around his paw and he couldn't move, and she helped him, and he then entrusted her, bonded with her in a way, kind of was like, okay, well, I'm injured and I trust this person, and then they paired up and became buddies. And Simon passed away before Oxventure started because Merilwen is a wood elf and lives for a very long time.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah I was like, hey, I'm already in, we're starting off the new series of D&D. I already have a dead cat.
Oh man.
To make you all sad.
You're like you rogues think you're bad with your dead parents. I have a dead cat.
Yeah.
Tug at those heartstrings.
That's where you get people.
Yeah. Nobody cares about the dead parents. They care about the dead cat.
And because of Simon and her bond with Simon, Johnny let me have wild shape one level early when we started from the get-go, because I was so excited about it. My little like level 0, level 1 druid, I was like, please, can I do this? I just turned into a cat. So yeah, I was able to turn into a cat, and it was actually, you know, like I ended up being really useful for the first campaign that we did, actually, weirdly enough, for the first little story we did. And so because of that, like, yeah, she turns into a little Scottish wildcat, which are animals that I've been mildly obsessed with since I was a kid, because I used to have family holidays in Scotland, and I like cats. So when I found out there were cute little wild ones in Scotland, I was like, OMG, they're the best. They're basically just like they're about the size of tabby cats, but they're just real angry all the time, and I'm like, I relate. Hella relate to this. And they're so cute. Like I've been to like kind of sanctuaries and seen them, and they're the most adorable things ever. And they're fairly endangered as well, so I kind of was like, hey, everyone be reminded that Scottish wildcats exist. Okay, this is my little thing. So but Simon did make a reappearance in one of our adventures, and Johnny sort of warned me that an episode would be about me, and then found out, mild spoilers for Oxventure if you want to listen to it at any point.
Spoiler alert.
In this thing, turns out that when Simon had been trapped in the trap, he had been cursed by a necromancer. So when Merilwen thought that he'd passed away and gave him a cute little burial, he actually came out of his grave and walked to a necromancer's hut where he was turned into a hat.
What?
Which made Merilwen very, very angry. And I just remember, because I did not know that this is going to happen. I just knew it was like, Johnny always gives us a heads up. And so they told me that, you know, it's going to be a Merilwen focused episode. And like that, you could see me like processing it. And I was I was upset. And then I was also simultaneously thinking, Johnny, you absolute genius. This is such a clever way to get my old companion in this video and have it be like a real like heartfelt moment for Merilwen. So thank you. Like I'm heartbroken, but also thank you.
I just imagine the DM stop talking and you're just like, first off, how dare you?
Afterwards, Johnny was like, I hope that wasn't too much. Was that okay? I was like, no, that was great. I'm fine. I was like, no, genuinely, that was outstanding. And I was like, people are gonna love that episode. So and people did. People were like, oh my god, how could they do that to Simon? So yeah, Yeah.
That's incredible. That is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I did remember the question that I had, which
Yay.
was, did you ever think that you were gonna have a character in a video game?
I dreamed of it, but didn't think it was ever going to happen. I'm so excited. I am so excited that Merilwen is like going to be like fully her own character in this. Well, when I was growing up, I wanted to make video games, and like I went to uni to do computer science and be like, yeah, I'm gonna program video games, and then I realized I don't like programming. It's like I can do it, but I just I wasn't enjoying it, and I was like,
I had a very similar experience.
yeah, a lot of people do that, and I think a lot of the time it's because you think, oh, I want to make video games, and you think, oh, that means that I have to be a programmer, because you think about like the making the game physically work and all that sort of stuff. There's like, yeah, but there's also like a million other things that you have to do to make a game, like writing and art and game design in general, level design. There's all these different things that are nothing to do with programming and are equally as important, you know. So I was like, I wish I kind of gone in another way if I'd known, but I still get to talk about video games, play video games for a living, you know. Not bad.
No,
but,
not bad at all.
But I'm really, really excited to be kind of like in a game, and I've contributed information about my character and be like, hey, like, you know, the Idle team have been the ones who've been like, hey, we've like programmed it and put her into the game, done all the art and everything. But it's nice to be like, I made that character. That's fine. That's my little druid. I'm so excited, because she, you know, for all of us, I think with our first characters is we took kind of elements of ourselves and made them like an extreme version that was like, because that's the easiest way when you're first getting into like role-playing games, I think, is find something that you can sort of relate to in a way. And so my one was like puns, likes animals, etc. So I'm like, there's
Jane
sort of a little
Cthulhu.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like, well, with Jane, like the running joke for Outside Xbox is that Jane is like the evil one. Like that's the kind of like like she's got a space laser, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, like it's a lot of fun. And like, so we kind of like took those ideas, like Mike who plays Egbert really likes blowing things up. So like, yeah, like it's all gone a bit Mike is what happens when Egbert comes up, you know. It's all like it's a lot of fun. And so like for Merilwen to be in a game, I'm like sort of in a game. I'm sort of a little bit of me is in.
I mean, you're kind of like really in a game.
Yeah. So yeah, it's lovely. I'm so excited to be like, that's my character. That's my druid. I'm so excited. And yeah, I've been messaging. I had a friend message me earlier, be like, oh, what have you been up to? I was like, oh, sorry, I've been really busy. I've got to jump into an interview because my character's gonna be in a video game.
Yeah.
And they were like, OMG, tell me everything. And I was like, so yeah, I've got all of my nerdy friends are like super excited for me. So
heck,
I'm really pleased.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, you know, playing video games for a living and everything like that. That's Outside Xtra, correct?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So why don't you get, for people who haven't checked out that channel, what do you do on Outside Xtra, and like what kind of stuff can be found there?
Well, alongside tabletop stuff, so D&D kind of sits across both channels, mainly on Outside Xbox. But on Outside Xtra, we've also been playing Blades in the Dark, another tabletop game, which is really fun. We have a lot of fun, and it's sort of linked to the Outside Xtra world a little bit.
Oh, really?
In you know, there's references. There's a lot of little silly references just peppered in for fans to kind of see. Which I think people will really enjoy. Like just like Luke's the kind of GM for that, and he's been really good at just like peppering in like a name or two or whatever, and it's you know, it's hinted at that this is the land of Geth but in the future, you know. So it's quite fun. And yeah, and then we've also got our kind of biggest videos are our list videos, where we look at various different kind of like tropes and patterns in video games, like things that you see like 7 times that
Yep.
you had a really big boss battle where they were a big giant and you were a tiny little thing, whatever, you know, things like that. And like,
that's what I know you all from, because my wife loves y'all's channels, and so like I will walk through the room and there's a list video going, Jane's going out with like the worst super villains in a video game. Like, okay, I'll watch a little bit of this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because you just notice all these things that are in games. You're like, oh yeah, you know, finding all these things. My favorite one, I think, that we've done is we did a one-off joke in a different video about like, oh no, they were behind glass, we couldn't save them, and then we went, hang on, this happens all the time in games. And so we've done like 2 videos on it so far. We did a normal version, then a commentary edition, I think, as well. So if people watching can think of an example, they'll pop it in and we'll like go through their ones as well.
I immediately thought of Fallout 3.
Yeah, like you're like, oh no,
not the glass.
Yeah, you know, can't do anything. So it was like 7 times you couldn't save people because glass, you know. And just finding all these like funny tropes that happen in games over and over. It's a lot of fun being like, okay, what puns, what jokes can I make about this, and take a kind of like hearted look at gaming, and try not to be like too serious about it. And then we do show of the weekend every week, where we just muck about. Like, so we sometimes read Pokemon magazine. We sometimes do quizzes for each other based on games that are out that week, and it's a lot of fun. Like we're really big fans of Choose Your Own Adventures, and Luke is particularly good at writing very mean Choose Your Own Adventures. And then also I have retaliated by writing equally mean, if not worse, Choose Your Own Adventures over the years as well. So that's really fun. And then also we have like we do little rundowns of what videos are coming, like what games are coming out that month, and we also do kind of like just list videos about, hey, this video game is coming up, we've played a bit of it, what do we think of it, here's 7 things you should know, all that sort of stuff, like trying to be like informational things, like, and sort of like reviewy style ones where we sit down together and like one of us has been playing a game and we just say, hey, this is what I've been playing, let me talk you through it, here's what I think, and the other one like asks questions here and there to be like, no, wait, what does that mean, what is that, sorry. Please explain, what is this game? Which is often fun. I like going with like kind of the slightly weird ones and like just dropping something strange in the middle of the conversation, having Luke go, wait, sorry, what does that mean, what?
It is the art of confusion.
I think that's very important in game reviews.
did I can't remember if this is correct or not. Did you do a Dark Souls playthrough?
Oh yes, yeah, that's the other big thing that we do is we do live streams where I have been, so in October 2020, we do Hallow stream. So every Halloween we do a bunch of streams, all from like horror games, and like my big thing is I'm terrible with horror games. So I was like, okay, so let's do this series called Ellen's Fear Academy, where I try and play a scary game and one of you is in on a Zoom call with me and you're talking me through it and being like, yeah, you can do it, like you're my emotional support buddy as I try and play through this game. I think it was the first year that we did it in 2020, I played a bit of Resident Evil 7, and there was one part where I don't think Luke laughed quite as hard as when I was panicking and trying to get into the menu to select a key to open a door and getting to any square except the one that I needed.
Because I was just like 6 of them too.
Yeah, and it's just like I watch that back sometimes if I need a laugh, because my little face, I'm just like in the corner, and it's really fun. And so we did that a couple of years, and then Luke had been playing through he'd played through Bloodborne and Demon's Souls when it came out on PS5, and I was like, but basically a lot of the audience were like really enjoying those videos, so we were like, well, what can we do to keep like playing some Soulsborne type stuff? And I was like, I was chatting to a friend actually in at Christmas 2020, and they were like, so I've been talking my friend through Dark Souls. Like, I was like, what have you been doing over the holidays? He's like, oh yeah, I've just been like going online with my friend on Discord and talking them through Dark Souls and how to do that. And I went, can I borrow that idea? So yeah, my friend Mark, thank you Mark, again, and I went to Luke and I was like, hey Luke, do you want to like guide me through, like coach me through Dark Souls, and you be like, and he was like, great. And it was so, he was so good about it as well, because he was like, okay, if you hate it though, like if you in the first episode, or even if we're halfway through the game and you just hit a wall and you don't like it and you don't want to do it anymore, we can stop at any time. Like that's we made that disclaimer when we started it. And then I absolutely adored it. And I suddenly, it clicked for me so quickly. And I was just like, oh my goodness, why is everyone saying that like it's hard? It's not, it like it's a tricky game, but it's not mean. It's hard, but it's not mean.
The way that I've always said is it is fair. If I die, I'm usually going, yep, I did that. That was all mean.
And like occasionally I'm like, hey, that wasn't fair. And if I feel the moment wasn't fair, I will very loudly, vocally say that on stream. I'm like, no, I pressed the button. But then sometimes I'm like, nah, that was me. That's fine. And you become very zen about it at point. And and I really enjoyed it. We got through Dark Souls, and then Luke sneakily, well, I say sneakily, he was updating me the whole time, played Dark Souls 3 in the summer of 2021, and then was like, hey, Ellen, do you want to do Dark Souls 3 next? And I was like, heck yeah. So that's been really fun. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're going to do we're not going to do Dark Souls 2 for the time being. Luke is playing it now, but he's like, it's quite long to do as an entire stream. It's one of the longer games. Dark Souls 3 is a little bit more compact. So I think if I do play Dark Souls 2, it'll be probably in my own time. But and everyone's like, oh, we want Ellen Ring. Ellen Ring. Yeah, and I was like, wow. It's also a really, really huge game, but we might do something with it as in a kind of Souls Academy vein. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I just really I really enjoyed it. I really clicked with it immediately and was like, oh, I get why everyone likes it now. Okay, I get it. It's like recently I played Undertale for a video. I had to get some recording at like something right at the end of the game, and I was like, okay, we don't have that recording anymore, so I've got to go redo it again. And then I was like, oh, I get it, everyone. I get it. I played through on Pacifist, and I was like, I understand why you're all obsessed with it. So I've had a lot of fun in those live streams, and it's quite good as well, because like I don't look at the chat at all. Luke reads the chat and passes on anything that he thinks might be useful, and has lovely interactions with the wonderful viewers. But yeah, it just means that because when he was playing his playthroughs of Bloodborne and Demon Souls, a lot of people were like, oh, you should do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and there's so much like conflicting advice. And then also, when you're live streaming as well, like for us, there's like 30-second delay, so someone in the chat will go, turn left, and like,
it's like,
I've gone past that left from like back there, right? Okay. So yeah, it's a good way that we've done it. And then like there's the nice kind of like banter between Luke and I of like, Luke's very like, deep breaths, calm, and sometimes when I need to take an Estus, he's like get his drink and be like as a hint, like, and sometimes he even drinks orange juice, especially. So it is an orange.
Gotta get that Sunny D.
Yeah.
I played through 1, 2, 3 and Bloodborne the beginning of this year, just before Elden Ring came out. And
wow.
I absolutely love my favorite videos to watch of people playing the Soulsborne games are people playing it for the first time. And so I might pull those videos up while I'm working today, because I always love those. Those are good stuff.
Yeah, It's a lot of fun, and like occasionally like Luke will be nice and warn me about things, and then occasionally Luke will be like, just have a look over there, and then completely troll me. And it's there's been a couple of traps that he's just completely walked me into.
No.
And then like two minutes later he'd be like, okay, I want you to avoid this one because it's a long way to the next bonfire, and blah blah blah, blah. So yeah, he was quite nice about Sen's Fortress, so I had a lot of help in Sen's Fortress, but yeah, yeah,
I helped my friend through there earlier this year, and I'm just like, just walk on in. No, it's fine. No, that big archway with the columns, no problem in there. You're good.
You're good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
Ellen, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me today. This was an absolute blast.
So pleased to be here, honestly.
Where can people find you on the interwebs if they'd like to do so?
Well, you can obviously find us on Outside Xtra over on YouTube. We've also got a Twitter, Outside Xtra, and an Instagram as well. And personally, I've also got a YouTube channel, Icklenellie Rose. It's a mouthful, ICKLENELLIE Rose, like the flower. Yeah, there we go. And I'm on Instagram and Twitter and everything, and I've been sharing idle stuff on there so that everyone I'm just so excited. I'm like, everyone look at this stuff, I'm in a video game. So yeah, I'm really excited for everyone to play as Merilwen, so I won't be shouting up about it on my social for a bit.
All right. Well, find Ellen on those socials and celebrate in the awesomeness of Merilwen coming to the game. Merilwen comes to Idle Champions during Dragon Down. I believe, actually, by the time people see this, I believe that's already happened. So go get Merilwen right now. But that is going to do it for this week's episode. Ellen, once again, thank you for being on. Maybe sometime we can have you on again and talk about more fun D&D stuff.
Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this week's episode. So until next week, take care of yourself.